What is going on, everybody? So, we are in October, and I've been watching a ton of horror movies. And it's been a lot of fun to watch all these horror movies. I've been revisiting some films I haven't seen for a long time, or watching some movies that I've really wanted to see for a while. And this is one that I see mentioned quite a bit as far as like the horror, psychological thriller, existing in that realm of genres. And this is a unique film because it's directed by actor Bill Paxton, who I'm a big fan of Bill Paxton throughout his career before he passed away. Made some really great films that I really enjoyed in my youth. I was excited to watch a movie that he directed to see what he would bring to the table as a director. I thought the premise of this film was absolutely fascinating, and I'm looking forward to talking about it today. And the movie I'm going to be discussing is Frailty. Frailty is directed by Bill Paxton. A man confesses to an FBI agent his family's story of how his religious fanatic father's visions led to a series of murders to destroy supposed demons. So, as I said, I was very excited to watch this movie because I've heard a lot about it. And I think the premise is incredibly interesting, especially as a lot of you out there know, growing up in a very hyper-conservative Christian family, anytime a film kind of tackles that subject matter and looks at it in a really interesting way, I'm always fascinated to watch that kind of a movie. And this is a film that I really appreciate the performances and the style and everything that it has to offer as far as thematically and what it leaves your mind to interpret in the beginning. But I absolutely hated the end. And the ending of the film honestly ruined the rest of the movie for me. I felt like it was the most lazy, cop-out, cheap ending that just kind of takes away from everything that the film was building up to. And I'll talk a little bit more about it in the review when I pick it apart. But as the plot description states, at the beginning of the film, Matthew McConaughey is sitting in a police station, and this detective comes in and says, hey, someone's here to talk to you about this case. Well, you find out there's a case that exists, that there's a killer called the God's Hand Killer, and essentially he's going around murdering all these people in the name of the Lord. And Matthew McConaughey's character talks to the detective and says, I know who this killer is. I can tell you who it is and why they did it. And so the entire film is him going into this story about when he was younger. Him and his brother lived with their father, played by Bill Paxton, at this farmhouse. And they have a really normal and fine life together. They love their dad. He's great to them. He takes care of them. And everything is just peachy keen. Well, one day, when Bill Paxton's character is at work, he gets a vision from God, as he says. An angel comes to him and tells him that the apocalypse is coming and that before it happens, that he needs to help cleanse these demons from our world. And that what will happen is he will be gifted 3 weapons. He'll be shown through these visions where to get these weapons, and that in using these weapons, he will murder these demons that he has been told who they are. And the list of names will come to him in a vision. So Matthew McConaughey, telling this story through his perspective, says, like, my dad did this. I really did not agree with it. I didn't believe what he was saying. I fought against it consistently. And so the movie shows us how Bill Paxton's character eventually goes through with this. He starts killing these people and saying that when he gets them into the barn, he touches them, is able to see the horrible things that they've done, and then kills them to rid them from the world so that they cannot cause more harm to other people. And the other brother that's there with Matthew McConaughey's younger version of himself is like believing a lot of what his dad says, and is like buying into it more. And Bill Paxton's character, when he realizes that his older son is not down with it and doesn't believe it, like makes him dig a hole outside in their house and like moves their shed over top of it and builds like this underground bunker that he locks him in for long periods of time. And the entire film is you getting these flashback stories and trying to discern like what drove Bill Paxton's character to this point. Why does he believe these things? Why is he doing these things? and leading up to the third act conclusion. And I loved that element of the film. I think putting in your viewer's mind this idea of like, okay, this person says that they have been, called out by God to cleanse the world of these demons. It's really fascinating. I think in our culture now, where so many people say these really ridiculous things, and they're often really off the cuff and wild, and not a lot of validity to them, that like seeing how people buy into certain things just wholeheartedly is really fascinating. And I think it parallels with our current culture very well. And I think seeing it through one of the children's eyes makes it more interesting. I really liked that element of the movie. And I think all the performances, even from the child actors, are really fantastic. I enjoyed all of that element of the film. And I think the build-up is really great. It just keeps you guessing the entire movie as to what is going on. And I really love the aesthetic and the way that the film is shot. I thought it was really impressive. I love some of the moments with the angel visions at the beginning are a little corny, like it's dated, but the technology was dated at the time. There's not really much that they could do with that, and I appreciated that a lot. The problem I have with this movie is the ending. The ending ruined the entire film for me, because everything that makes this movie interesting and thoughtful and keeps your head guessing the entire time, the movie takes the most cliche, easy way out that it possibly could, that just feels so lazy, and it just kind of takes away from everything that the film build up in the beginning. There's like a shift as to whose perspective that you can believe, and certain ideas about the characters. And I don't want to spoil this for anyone who hasn't seen it, but because of the direction they take, they're so much more concerned, in my opinion, as to providing some level of twist that's going to be like, oh, you're not going to see this coming, that it kind of defeats everything that the film was building up to. I don't know, it left a sour taste in my mouth. I feel like it was so much more interesting in its build-up than in its execution in the third act. And I've noticed reviews that have complaints about this movie are very similar to me, in that it's normally a complaint about the third act, because the structure of the remainder of the film is really great. I enjoyed everything that was leading up to that moment. It's just that third act is so sloppily delivered. And I think maybe in the hands of a different writer, it could have been a lot better and maybe more thought-provoking and interesting. But instead, it's just incredibly on the nose, very lazy, very simple. And that's upsetting, because I really feel like this movie had a ton of potential to be something really fantastic, and instead the ending made it fall completely flat for me. Have you seen Frailty? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was great up until the very end, and then it kind of ruined the entire film for me. I thought it was very lazy, and I thought it was the easiest route the movie could have taken. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.